We want to discuss today that the Halacha about when you have a mixture of foods, and you've got foods which consist from different components, different ingredients, what brachot you make on it. Now, this section, I don't want to talk about if one of the 5 grains is in the mixture, because that changes the Halacha completely. Because the 5 grains have such importance. The mezonot which you make only in 5 grains, that excludes rice. Rice is not one of the 5 grains, which is included in chita and seorah, which is mentioned in the pasuk of the 7 species. Those have such importance that if they're mixed into a product, even if they're the minority, but you're there for flavor or for filling, the halacha is that you make on it mezonot. It takes precedence. You make bracha on that. But if it's there just to solidify something or to make something steady, then it's called ledabek. Then obviously, then we go back to the rule of what we want to discuss now, other ingredients, things which are ha'etz, hadama, she'akol. For example, people have a mixture of rice with carrots and potatoes and meat. What bracha do we make on it? So let's differentiate between when it's served on the plate and each of the components is actually served separately on the plate, and it's quite recognizable that they're separate entities, even though you intend to eat them together and to mix them up, but because they're being served to you separately on the plate, and they're nikar, they're recognizable standing on their own, then ideally, before you start eating, make a bracha on each one separately, based on the order. So let's say, for example, you've got chicken, rice, vegetables. You've got shehakol, mezonot, and hadama. Remember, the mezonot here is not on the 5 grains, it's on rice. And therefore, since it's on rice, it's got an equal status to the potatoes or to the peas or whatever you're having together with. So therefore, since they're being served at separate part of the, and it's quite recognizable as being separately, then what you should do is make on each one a bracha separately. Make mezonot first, then make the hadama, and then make the shakol, or according to chaviv, which one you like most. But since each one of them you want to have, and you're not having it just to sweeten the taste of something or to make some other food pleasant, you're having it because you want to have all 3. So yeah, you might have a preference onto one and to the other one, but because they've been separate on the plate, then before you start eating, make bracha on each one separately. However, you've got a dish called pilau, that you cooked the rice and the chicken and the meat and the carrots and the potatoes all together in one pot, and they get all mixed up. So even though you could really separate each one, and sometimes you will get separate pieces, but generally everything is kind of mixed with each other. And every time you take a spoonful, you're going to be taken from these different components together. Not only that, the meat will be always stuck with rice on it. Since it's been cooked together, in such a situation, you go either after the ikar, what you prefer, what you're having it most, what you value most, or by the majority. Now, people tend not to know what's ikar, what's the main thing, because they want everything. They want to have rice to fill themselves up. They want to have the chicken because they want protein. So they want everything. In such a situation, you go after the majority. Whatever the majority is, you make bracha on that and you cover everything. Even though in the course of you eating, you're going to be eating some things on its own, yet you make on it one bracha according to the majority. That's good. Now, especially when you have things really stuck together, which are being cooked together, being placed into one unit together, so obviously in such a case, you either follow the ikar, the main thing why you're having it, or if you're not sure why you want it, then you go after the majority, whatever has more of a percentage in the ingredient. So I'll take example a bar, a fruit bar which consists from hadama and ha'etz. And I'm not sure whether I prefer the hadama, the banana taste or the nuts taste. So in such a case, I will see in the percentage wise which is the biggest ingredient and make bracha on that. But if you know that you want it for, especially for one thing more than the other one, you want that what the main thing, then since it's together, then you'll make the bracha on the ikar. Here you can't separate things. But when it's things are separated already, and you can see them, each one, I would say even on a fruit salad. You've got a fruit salad which has quite reasonable pieces. Even though you're planning to having together, but because it's nikar, as the Ben Ish Chai writes this, since it's nikar, and you can recognize each one separately, and you're able to eat it, so before you start eating, make on the brachot each one separately. But after that, obviously, eat them together, it's not a problem because you made bracha on each one separately. If it's not nikar, means everything is stuck to each other and everything is mixed in a way, and that's when you cook it, then you go after the majority or the main ingredient you want in what you're eating.